It's now time for Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, live on the Woodward Sports Network. Every day, 2 to 4 p.m. Starring Ryan Ermanni, Michigan great and former NFL baller Braylon Edwards, and of course, Tom Mazaway. Let's talk some sports.
What is up, Ermanni and Edwards? So glad you could join us wherever you may be on this beautiful Tuesday here in Michigan. Pete's here. Kool-aid's here. Braylon's here.
Oh, you know I'm here.
Go. I'm even asking myself, why am I even here today? Go. You deserve it. You absolutely deserve it. Beating Alabama. Beating the SEC at their own game. The floor is yours, my friend.
First of all, why are you wearing that Michigan State hat?
I knew that was coming.
Why are you wearing this Michigan State hat?
Knew that was coming.
You guys haven't played. Why? You know what?
Spartan hockey.
I'm not gonna let you ruin my joy. We beat you guys in that too, by the way. But right. This is what I said. I don't want to get too high, and I don't want to get too just boom, 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 boom. Because like Kobe said, rest in peace. Job's not done. So I don't want to get too overly high as I'm wearing this Michigan sports coat. But we called it. Like Sean Baligian, Ryan, Ermanni, and myself called it from August. We said if Michigan was going to have a chance to really get to the national championship, make it to that final game and win, which they have not done yet, this will be the year. Nobody knew who the hell McCord was for Ohio State. Nobody knew who Jalen Milroe was for Alabama. Nobody knew who Beck was from Georgia. So if this was going to happen, it's a pretty good year to happen. And no. I love you, Sean. I ain't done yet.
All right, go on.
I love you, Sean, but I ain't done yet. Cheat gate. Connor Stallions. Michigan can't win unless they use the advantage of Connor Stallions and whatever was going on with that. You know what? We're going to suspend Jim Harbaugh while they're in flight on the way to Happy Valley when the team was ranked 8th in the country. Won that game. Won the next game. Ohio State and everything that Ryan Day did and the Ohio State program did, they didn't show up when they came to Ann Arbor. Then Michigan won a buffer game in Indianapolis. Then all the narratives before that was, well, Michigan, Alabama, you guys really think you're going to beat Alabama? You really think you're going to beat Nick Saban? You guys didn't think anything about Alabama until they beat Georgia. The game before that, 26-yard pass to win in overtime over Auburn. Georgia, by the way, when they lost to Alabama, they were minus Brock Bowers and Ladd McConkey, who are their best two offensive players. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to go ham and cheese because I knew it. I called it. Offensive line wasn't good. They're giving up the 4th most sacks all season. We had 6. So with that being said, I think it was a logistical outcome. Alabama had a chance to win because they're still Alabama. They're still coached by the greatest coach of all time. So you got to give him credit, as you should, and you got to give credit to that institution. But this is what I felt was going to happen from the start of the season, and especially once they announced Alabama. Michigan wasn't pissed because it was Alabama. They were confused because it wasn't Florida State.
Let me jump out and say this. I think of all the things you said, and I'm going to kiss your ass right now.
You don't have to.
But I'm going to, because this is a conversation you and I have had for many, many years, okay? Believe it or not, he and I were on the same page about a few things over the past few years. And one of those things that we are about is what he's talking about right this second. This is what a championship team looks like, okay? Because I know a lot of you pounded him in the past few years.
Oh, wait, what? I still haven't gained those fans back.
A lot. You know what? Maybe you should slide an apology Braylon Edwards' way right now. Because I think what has happened in the sports media, to me, Braylon, what has happened in the sports media today is you have a bunch of people that want to hear what they want to hear.
Yeah.
They don't want to hear the truth. They don't want to hear that one more year wasn't going to work for Rich Rod. They don't want to hear that Brady Hoke coming home was just the return of Michigan football. They didn't want to hear that through Jim Harbaugh's first few years, this was an also-ran program. And so today, you see what a championship caliber program looks like. And I couldn't agree with you anymore, Braylon, in this regard. What jumped out to me, and I talked to Shep about this just this last week, okay? Bigger, stronger, faster has been real with the SEC. You can lie if you want. If you want to make yourself feel better, you're right. The SEC hasn't been dominant. You're right. They haven't been bigger, stronger, faster. You're right. They haven't worn down the lines on both sides of the line. And you know what, Braylon? It was looking that way.
Now, the SEC got whooped yesterday. You better get to the point.
That's exactly where I'm going.
You better get there.
Didn't it look like after the 5 sacks in the first half, after Michigan had some success on the other side of the ball, didn't it look like, we're coming back? And then all of a sudden, you know what happened? In crunch time, it was Michigan exerting their will on Alabama. So you know what happened last night? The SEC aura that is helping perpetuated by people like me, because quite frankly, it was telling the truth, whether you guys want to admit it or not. I don't give two shits. It was telling the truth. But you know what happened last night?
I can't. Well, 12-4 now.
Braylon, that bubble burst last night.
Yeah.
The aura is gone. Michigan out SEC'd an SEC team. It happened last night. We watched it. We all watched it. You can't deny it. Even you, Feinbaum. You have to admit it. Let's all move on with our lives.
So 2 things. Well,
yes.
Since you brought up Feinbaum, 3 things. 1.
Oh, boy.
How you doing over there, Paul? How you doing over there, Paul? I even heard Paul Feinbaum today say, you know what? Michigan, if they win the outright national championship, you know what? I don't think it'll be a stain. I don't think it'll be an asterisk. I told you that 4 weeks ago. But anyway, moving on. 2, Michigan did exactly what Ohio State did in 2014. I hate mentioning Ohio State, but in this particular instance, it's necessary. 2014, Alabama was a dog team. Ohio State was a damn good team. Ohio State hit Alabama in the mouth. Then they hit them again. Same thing happened last night. Alabama got hit in the mouth on defense and offense, and they were like, wait, no, they're not cheaters. They're just damn good. They're damn physical. I understand what the program is at the University of Michigan. So I guess it started off in the daytime and became night, though, but last night was just a true testament to like a team that believed. Like, you got to look at everything that they've been through. You got to give those guys credit. The coaching staff, 100%, but the players. Do you know how hard it is to not have your coach for 3 games? Do you know how hard it is to watch everybody around the country say that everything that you did in the offseason, in the winter, in April, spring ball, winter conditioning, running the golf course, all that's nullified because you guys cheated? Nah, you guys aren't that good. You cheated. You know what? You guys don't even deserve to be in the college football playoffs. They've been dealing with this for the better part of 2.5 months, and they stayed the course. They stayed together. They came back. Shout out to my boy J.J. McCarthy. Hell of a throw by you. They stayed the course and won that game in overtime. Like, that resiliency, I can't wait. This 30 for 30 doc, by the way, is going to be the best of all time. And by the way, it'll be 25 years after Michigan won the last national championship.
All right, Pete, where do you want to start with? There's so much sound. Listen, all jokes aside, this is a day I don't care who you root for. You got to give these guys full marks for what they did, for what they've gone through, for what transpired last night. I don't care if you're wearing a hat like this. I don't care if you're wearing the hat with the O. I don't care if you got that silly little elephant on there. If somebody could explain what the hell that is, I'd really like to know. All jokes aside, you have to give credit where credit is due. And Pete, we got a lot of sound accordingly.
How about Jim Harbaugh on the epic game?
Yep.
All right.
Glorious. That was glorious. It was a tremendous football game. Congratulate Alabama on a terrific game, and their great players and coaching staff and their fans. That was an epic game, and glorious is how I feel. That was a tremendous win.
That was. Dude, seriously, okay? Just for a second, pretend you're not a Michigan fan, okay? Just pretend you're not a Michigan fan. Or pretend you are a Michigan fan.
Pretend you're not a Michigan hater.
Yeah. What transpired last night is what every one of us dream of, okay? Every one of us. Are you kidding me? I thought back, it was 10 years to the day they were at the Rose Bowl. I was at the Rose Bowl. Michigan State was at the Rose Bowl. I thought back to the Alabama game, though. in 2015, at the end of the 2015 season.
Dallas, right?
I would have given anything to do what you guys done last night.
Yeah.
I would have given anything. And you did it. And you did it to the guy who I agree with you. No disrespect to anybody else. Nick Saban is the gold standard. And all we heard for a month is you give Nick Saban a month. Oh, wait till the halftime adjustments. Every gosh damn thing in the world.
He got outcoached.
Got outcoached.
The greatest ever.
Got outcoached.
And there's nothing wrong. Two things can be true, like you just said. Mm-hmm. But he got outcoached.
He did.
He got outcoached, and we've given him so much credit for the Tua, Jalen Hurts situation. Amazing. To be able to make that decision in the national championship and say, hey, look, man, I know you got us here, but we're going to go ahead and sit you down and play Tua. So you give him credit for that because it's real. That's not he got outcoached. Like, to be honest, I would have stuck with running the ball with Jalen Milroe. Like, you tried to make Jalen Milroe a passing quarterback. Why? But getting back to it, he got outcoached. But Jim Harbaugh, you got to give him a lot of credit. He and I don't necessarily always see eye to eye. But I am right on par with what he did this year. Like, how he believes in his guys. How his guys talk about him. Very different than 3-4 years ago. It's very different. And then have to go through what they went through. This didn't start Penn State. This started with Hamburger Gate to start the season. Missed 3 games. Didn't have to miss another 3 games because Tony Petit is a coward. It is what it is. It is what it is. You see that he tried to sneak away from giving Jim Harbaugh the Big Ten championship trophy. You saw that, right? And they was like, no.
Come on.
So you got to give him credit for being able to talk to his guys during the week, stay with his players, keep his players invested and motivated. His coaches, keeping Sharon Moore. Hey, look like they're getting some heat out there in Penn State. You might want to run the ball. So to do all that and then go against who people say is the GOAT because he is, Nick Saban is, and beat Nick Saban. And not just beat him, Sean Baligian. Like, look, Clemson beat Nick Saban, but it didn't necessarily look like Dabo Swinney outcoached Nick Saban. It just was like, Clemson was a better team.
Yep.
You got outcoached by Jim Harbaugh, who has been in the firing line from the NCAA to the Big Ten and everybody around the country all year long. Man, I'm telling you, greatest 30 for 30 is coming.
And let's not forget a firing line for a lot of his fan base as well, because I think we all remember after 2020, there were a lot of people that thought 2021 might be the swan song, even if he got there. Even if he got there. I mean, that's real. But give that guy full marks. Pete, what else you got for us?
Well, how about Jim Harbaugh comparing J.J. McCarthy to Tom Brady?
In overtime against Alabama, I think the last quarterback to win in overtime against Alabama was none other than Tom Brady. And I've said it before, but this is right here. This is the greatest quarterback in University of Michigan football, college football history. Got a long way to go to get to get where Tom Brady eventually got to, which is the GOAT. I mean, he's lapped the field when it comes to that. But in a college career, there's been nobody at Michigan better than JJ. And I know we talk about an amalgamation of quarterbacks. He is that guy.
That's a big statement, Bray. That's a big statement.
Considering the only quarterback in Michigan history that went to the Heisman was Jim Harbaugh in 1987. You know what's funny about, look, I played with Chad Henne, and, me and Jim can disagree. I'm a Chad guy, Chad Henne, etc. But with that being said, J.J. McCarthy is in a certain stance exactly what Jim Harbaugh says. He has the most talent of the quarterbacks that ever gone to Michigan. He has the intangibles that are different. Denard Robinson is arguably the most electric player to ever come to Michigan. He can't throw like J.J. McCarthy. He can't run out the pocket, get to this hash, and throw back this way. And J.J.'s done that 4 or 5 times this year. When you look at J.J.'s record, I don't even have to finish that statement. And then also to the Tom Brady comment, J.J. split time 3 years ago. J.J. didn't know he was going to be the starter last year.
Yep.
He fought through all that adversity with a bum shoulder last year, ladies and gentlemen. And then you see what he's been able to do this year. If Jim Harbaugh wasn't a product of Glenn Ebo Schembechler, rest in peace, JJ would have a much different look in the statistical category. Jim Harbaugh, where's his 1,000-yard receiver? None in San Diego, none in San Francisco, none in Stanford, none in Michigan. Hasn't had a 1,000-yard receiver. He is 3 yards in a cloud of dust, but we also got a couple little gimmicks and things like that. If JJ was playing in a different team, different system, his stats will look different.
When he rolls out, as he started to do last night, he is lethal. There is not enough said about that. Those darts that he throws, those sideline routes, Bray, it's insane.
We got to get a message from Dispo, but I want to touch on that a little bit too, because I got something else to say about J.J. McCarthy and trying to figure out, like, 3 years ago, we were very excited about J.J. McCarthy, and I feel like we'll go to Dispo, we'll talk about that. But start the year lifted. Visit Dispo Dispensary today for exclusive new deals. Holiday extravaganza. Experience Dispo Dispensary, a team that curates an unbelievable atmosphere. Look, we can talk about it. We were there last Friday, and we've been there a bunch of times. The atmosphere is electric. It's fun. Good people. Great product. It's the best place to go. Simply put, Dispo is your local plug.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White & Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, two of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Hey, for over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, dry-aged beef. Experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. You can visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks, or you can order online. It's really simple, fairwaypacking.com. Well, this is your day, Michigan fans. Make no mistake about that. This is your day. Nobody can talk, well, shit to you today, except for Washington. But as Braylon Edwards said, unfinished business yet. It's all about what transpires 6 days from now. But Braylon, when we went to the break, I know much has been said about JJ's struggles down the stretch. When that kid rolls out, some of the darts he throws, that sideline route yesterday was that's a professional throw, man. You know a little something about professional quarterbacks. That's a professional throw.
A lot of bad quarterbacks, but you see a little bit here and there. I feel like Michigan should run more in the offense, and they give us little tidbits, and you get excited, and then they go away from it. But JJ's shown us that he can make those throws. Remember, this is when I thought JJ had a real good chance to be as good as he is, maybe even better. Remember his freshman year when he was going back and forth, kind of like the Tebow role in Florida with Chris Lee. That's what he was doing with Cade McNamara. He would come in like off the sideline like cold, like literally hadn't had a snap, would come in the game and throw a dart and then go out. Do you know how hard it is to legitimately come in cold, especially as a quarterback? Come in cold and throw darts on the sideline on out routes, which are the hardest. Throw to throw, left hash to right sideline. So I knew he had that talent. But the thing that I feel like ingratiated us to JJ was his running ability. Like, how many plays did you see where JJ was neck and neck with Donovan Edwards running to the end zone?
Yeah.
Or Blake Corum.
Yeah.
Before Blake had the knee and the ankle, and Blake used to be fat. JJ had that ability, and I thought Michigan would have leaned into that more last year when he was a starter and more this year. Kool-aid brings up a good point. Says maybe they were just saving it for Ohio State, saving it for the playoffs, saving it for the national championship. JJ is electric when he runs. He's electric because he can make other plays as well. They got to lean into that. Let him go. Like, Jim has to let him go, because when you do, man.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
I mean, I answered those doubters. There's no question about that. I mean, as this team has done all year, and you have no choice but to give him some credit. Hey, let's hear from Junior Colston, if we can, Pete, on that last play. Braylon, I'm interested to hear from you what you think they were trying to do. I have a theory what Alabama was trying to do on that last play, but you know the game a little bit. Let's hear Junior Colston's take.
Playing for that. Well, let Junior. Go ahead, Junior. Why don't you describe it?
We're playing cover zero. Coach was telling us, all the time, this is the moment we were built for. This is the moment where we can come out here and play for. And we knew exactly what was going to happen. It's like when the moments gets tough, who you go to? You always go to your best player. They went to their best player, and we were right there to stop it. So we sent the house. I said it's fourth down. It's one last play. Everybody strained to the ball.
I think we can't undersell the importance of a center. That's first and foremost. Let's get that out of the way. But the second thing, Braylon...
Ask the Lions about that. Much different team with Frank Ragnow.
100%.
Yeah.
Braylon, I think they were trying for the RPO on that play. Is that what you saw on that play? It wasn't the snap that maybe would allow them to do that, but boy, it sure looked like RPO to me on that play.
Yeah, I don't think they were trying to do I think they were trying to do RPO, but I don't think they were trying to do a perimeter RPO.
Okay.
I think they were trying to do an inside type RPO, so I think you're correct about that. But this is when your coach continues to tell you who you guys are. This is what happens when you build a foundation, which Michigan has been under Jim Harbaugh. This is what happens when you build an identity, tough, physical, for the moment. Like Sean, that play could have went a lot of different ways, but you know what happened? Insert players sticking together because of suspension twice. Players sticking together because of 65. Shout out to Zach Minter. Sticking together for him. Sticking together as a team. Blake Corum coming back when he didn't have to. Mm-hmm. Those guys were so together, I guarantee you in that moment, man, it was like, we know what's going to happen. Jalen Milroe's going to get the ball. We're going to stop him. That was exactly what the Michigan defense, those 11 came together. Like I promise you, did you see the energy? There were 9 guys in there almost. Pause. They had 9 guys in there. So it's just that identity that Jim Harbaugh has really built in the last 3, I'd say 4, because it starts in the offseason. See, identity he's built in the last 4 seasons. Like in 2020, when the COVID year, when they didn't play and everything was like, well, they didn't play, we would have hung 90 and blah, blah, blah. You had to change the mindset, and I think he's done a great job, and that's what you saw in that play.
You know what? You bring up such a good point, identity, because when the proverbial crap hit the fan, what did Michigan do when they had the ball?
And
here's Blake Corum.
100%. Allow me to reintroduce myself.
Dude, that run. That is going to go in the annals of historic runs for Michigan football, for big runs and big moments. I mean, the combination, agile, vision, everything. I mean, everything came together in that run.
The 4th and 2 call, the 4th and 2 play call, there were so many things in that game that didn't necessarily go right.
Sure.
If we're gonna sit here and talk about Michigan and everything, look, they didn't play a perfect game, and look, it doesn't matter. They won, but they didn't play a perfect game. But when they needed to, they were able to dial up what they needed to do, whether it was on defense, whether it was on offense, and whether it was the coaches, whether it was the OC or the DC. They knew exactly what to do in those moments. That's championship football. The first quarter doesn't matter. Second quarter doesn't matter. Third quarter doesn't matter. It matters in the moments at the end. Can you make decisions? Can you put your team in a good position? And then can your players actually respond in the moment, in the heat of battle? I think they did that all around as a team.
Pete, can we play this cut? I don't know if we can, from Brad Galley about. We can?
No, it cannot.
We
we're on Fox. Yeah.
All right. Can we play about their next opponent, the Washington Huskies, who, in my mind, there's a little bit of Michigan going on with them, Braylon, and I'll tell you why.
Okay.
I think everybody just thought that they were going to go away at some point in time during the season.
Good call.
And I think a lot of people felt that way about Michigan, and surely they were going to go away against Alabama. The Washington Huskies keep doing what they do. Michael Penix, who, in my mind, I can talk about it now. I'm a Heisman voter. I voted for him. I would vote for him again today if the truth is known. But the Washington Huskies are the opponent next week.
Well, no, there's no cut for that. It was
there isn't a cut for that.
That was a
I'm
graphic.
an idiot then.
That's okay.
That wouldn't be the first time.
What do you have over there?
I got tons of stuff. I got JJ on the win. It's a nice cut. Here you go.
All right, do
What does
that.
that mean to you guys?
It just means everything, just think about how far we've come, all the, hardships that we went through as a team and as a brotherhood. Just being able to do it on this stage, it's been 26 years since Michigan won in this building and, the second most appearance out of any college in the entire country playing in this game. So, it's just amazing the way it happened, but, ultimately it's everything that Coach said. We can't do it without the unity that we have. Everything that we went through this entire year, it made us unbreakable. And in the biggest moments, we were going to show up.
Are we allowed to say for all the non-Michigan fans out there that kid is very difficult to dislike? Are we allowed? Can I say that? Are we allowed to say that?
I've liked some Michigan State players. I've liked some Ohio State players. It's okay when you see something and recognize it. It's okay to be honest and trill and stand on business. This is why Michigan has been so good in the last 3 years. Yeah, the Big Ten, sorry, and blah, blah, blah. You can say other stuff. But let me educate you on this. Every time a player from Jim Harbaugh's team goes to the podium, what do you see? Leadership. You see confidence. You see, they are unwavered, unbothered. They're humble. They come there, and it's a team game. You interview Blake Corum, he's talking about Donovan Edwards. You interview J.J. McCarthy, he's talking about Roman Wilson. You interview Roman Wilson, he's talking about Mike Sanders still. Those guys are humble. Those guys are becoming Michigan men. That's why they act like that. That's why they operate like that. It's something to be said when you really have guys that are third years, fourth years that really go through the process of those who stay. And I think that's what you're seeing this year. Those who stay, that's a real phrase that Bo Coin, and you're seeing it on full display. J.J. McCarthy is a hell of a leader. Ryan Ermanni, I got him credit. He knows that Caleb Williams is better than J.J. McCarthy. But because of his leadership, depending on what team I was, maybe take J.J. over Caleb.
You brought up something that now I can bring up, and I hope we can all be adult about this because I was sick and I'm going to watch my tongue. Freaking tired about this about 10 years ago, okay? You can take the Big Ten is down and stuff it up your ass. Really far, too, okay? Maybe, just maybe, Michigan's that good. And if they didn't prove it to you yet, they just went and beat Alabama last night. And Braylon, this is where I can talk about it from my vantage point. That's all we heard in 2013.
Yeah.
This is a down Ohio State team. Well, they were unbeaten the year before, and they went and won the national title the next year. What are we talking about? And the same thing in 15. Damn good Ohio State team, damn good Michigan team. Screw that. Maybe, just maybe Michigan's that good. And I think they proved it by beating Alabama last night. And you know as well as I do what people are going to say. This isn't a prototypical Alabama team. It's still Nick Saban. It's still Alabama. It's still the college football playoff in Pasadena. So, today, just save that crap, man. Michigan deserves all the roses, pun intended, they're getting today. They do. And I don't know how that can be argued. I can't stand the conference is down garbage. Well, maybe part of the reason the conference is down is because Michigan is making it their own playground the last couple of years, because that's exactly what has happened. This has been Michigan's playground the last couple of years. And if you're not man enough to acknowledge that, then bomb me in the chat. That's the way it is. I can only speak in fact. They've owned this conference, and you have to give them a tip of the cap.
Definitely has to give him a tip of the cap. And I think you can talk about both things kind of being true. Look, the Big Ten hasn't necessarily been as strong as it was 2014, 15, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. It just hasn't. And it's okay. Michigan, on the other hand, has been that dominant.
Yep.
Michigan has, so that's what I'm saying. You can say both things. Michigan's just been that dominant. But you know why they're that dominant versus everybody else in the Big Ten landscape? It's consistency. Same head coach. Offensive coordinators have changed, but still stayed true to the identity, which is we're going to have the big guys up front. We're going to run the ball. Since Jim Harbaugh's been here, they've been able to run the ball for the last 9 years.
Yep.
They've run the ball for that, whether it was Fitzgerald Toussaint, whether it was Karan Higdon, whether it was Davion Smith, where it was insert running back here. They've run the ball, and I think a lot of these teams in the Big Ten are trying to change with the landscape. New coach, new offensive coordinator, new coach, new offensive coordinator, so you can't get stability. Michigan's dominated that. But as it relates to Alabama, are they a different team than they have been in the past? Yes. Let's be real. I'm a real guy. You gave me credit for being real. Mm-hmm. In past Alabama years when they've won the national championship or they got into the national championship game, like, they got 8 guys going in the first round. Mm-hmm. Like, they got about 16 guys going between the first 5 rounds. Like, that. They don't have that this year. 2 great players in the secondary, pretty good wide receiver, really good offensive lineman, and then you're like, so this is not the same Alabama teams that were dominant when he was winning. But with that said, who gives a F? You got to line up, and you got to play the game. And Michigan this year, they lined up, and they played the game. No
doubt about that. Anthony Broome does such a fantastic job. Going to be joining us in a few. He was there. It is an experience, Braylon. I know you know this better than I do, but I heard Herb Street talking about this last night. Guys like us that grow up in the Midwest, right? We're used to watching the Rose Bowl, turning the Rose Bowl on, 4:30 in the afternoon, whatever the case may be, a little bit later this time around, and then it's pitch dark by about 6 o'clock.
Yeah.
And when I was a kid, I thought it was the coolest thing on earth, to see, wow, it's broad daylight in Pasadena, and then watch the sun come down beneath those mountains behind the thing.
Sierra Mountains in the background.
There's just something, I don't mean to be sacrilegious, religious about it. There really is, and having an opportunity to see that up close and personal is really one of those things. I highly suggest it. Anthony Broome's a guy that got a chance to see that.
Can't wait to talk to Anthony Broome because I played in that game twice. I know exactly what you're talking about when the sun goes down, those mountains in the background. Like, it is something to behold. My dad played in the Rose Bowl too, so we could talk about that.
You want to go straight to Anthony, or are we taking a break?
No, we got
we're going to take a break.
All right.
But first, a message from Dispo.
Oh, Big Boy, baby. Big Boy, baby. Yeah, wintertime in Detroit is always better with comfort foods from Big Boy. Try the veal parmigiano or the new Southern Comfort chicken bowl. How about breakfast? The stuffed potato pancakes are back, the classic lumberjack or the Santa Fe Garde. Also, new apple pie hotcakes. That is too good to miss. Top it all off with a new gingerbread shake for dessert. Stop by your local Big Boy today.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Have you ever wondered where all the finest restaurants get their steaks? It's Fairway Packing Company, providing Michigan restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef for over 60 years. But now you can buy these cuts of meat for yourself at the Steak Shop by Fairway Packing Company. Prime porterhouse, A5 Japanese New York strip steak, dry aged Wagyu beef tomahawk. Delicious. Get to the Steak Shop today. Enjoy fine wine, have a private party, and get the finest cuts of meat anywhere. The Steak Shop on Mack Avenue in Grosse Pointe Woods, or order online, fairwaypacking.com.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
I'm tired of wearing the same old Detroit sports merch. I know you get tired of wearing the same old thing. You got to get that new stuff. You got to get that new swag. You know where you go? Go to woodwardsports.com/shop. It's a new era in sports wearables, new designs, amazing apparel, and ultimate swag, like I just said. Check out Woodward Sports' latest gear at woodwardsports.com. Click shop. Hoodies, tees, hats. Simply put, you go there, they have it all. It's dope. I'm tired of talking about it. Just go to woodwardsports.com shop.
All right, welcome back in. Glad you could join us, Ermanni and Edwards. I'm sitting in for Ermanni. Ermanni will be back on Thursday. I think he's probably still dancing someplace. Yeah. You guys should. You guys should.
Yeah, I celebrated.
Absolutely.
I celebrated pretty good last night.
The amount of crap that you've had to take from everybody for a long time.
Yeah.
Everybody. Absolutely. And it's not just Michigan State fans, Ohio State fans. It's everybody. And got to shut up today, man. Got to shut up today. Give them their flowers. They absolutely deserve them. Hopefully we'll catch up with Anthony Broome. He's from the Wolverine.com, On3 Sports Network. Braylon, what was that moment like for you? Because you and I were talking about it during the break. Again, anybody who's been to the Rose Bowl, it's unbelievable. It's one of those things, Braylon, like from a fan's perspective, you're walking down a street, okay? You're in a neighborhood. You're walking down a street, and then all of a sudden you go, oh, hey, cool, there's the Rose Bowl. Like, I'm not exaggerating.
Right.
That is exactly how it... You're just walking down your street, and then all of a sudden at the end of your street, instead of it being end of a block or turning off into a made roadway, no, there's the Rose Bowl. How can you even describe what that was like for you, man?
It's funny because it's literally a residential neighborhood right there as well.
Yep.
Like, as you're first entering to the Rose Bowl, you're parking, there's a residential neighborhood to the left. It's just one of those iconic things. Like, my dad played for Michigan. Shout out to Pops. What's up, Stan? So I grew up Michigan. I grew up maize and blue. Like, in our anthem, in our theme, we don't talk about the national championship. Leaders and championships of the West. Like champions of the West. That's the Rose Bowl. That's what it means in the Big Ten. That's what it's meant to Michigan. So to get a chance, man, to see that sunset off those mountains, man, and watch that stop and watch the team run on the field. Like, I played twice, 2 losses. Michigan the last 3 times before tonight, losses. Heartbreak. Some ass whoopings too. But it is what it is. You know, I'm very honest though. Hey, you remember it was 3-3 at halftime in 2009, and you blinked, it was 42-3. But to get that win, where can't Michigan win? On the West Coast. Not only did they beat Alabama and Nick Saban, but they did it on the West Coast. They did it in the Rose Bowl. The granddaddy of them all. Like, I'm literally listening in my head. I wasn't listening to the commentators. I heard Keith Jackson.
Amen.
So, rest in peace. So it legitimately was, it's a moment. And that's why I say, like, this 30 for 30 doc, you think I'm joking. It's going to be real. Like, everything has aligned perfect for this Michigan team, man. So to watch it, like, my dad and I don't get emotional about Michigan games. Like, if they lose, I'm like, I get pissed, but not really tripping. If they win a big one, I'm not crying. I'm like, it's a good win. Last night, my dad and I talked on the phone. It was the first time I think we really ever had kind of like I could feel that it was important to him. And he could feel definitely that it was important to me. So yesterday was probably the biggest win in Michigan, like, up till now. That's probably the biggest win in Michigan's modern history.
When you think, I used the term about 10 years ago to try to explain what was going on around here, and I always use the term going back to the Revolutionary War.
Okay.
World turned upside down.
Yeah.
Okay? Because people around here were not
like
accustomed.
76?
Yeah. People around here were not accustomed to Michigan being the team that people were kicking sand at. And that's what it was for a while. So to your point, Braylon, I think this is a combination of things. This is not only that tough era between 05, really 05 going up to 2021, but specifically maybe 2010 to 2021. It's not only that, but it's everything that you spoke of earlier in the year, whether it started with the NCAA investigation that started the year, going to all the Connor Stallion stuff. There was so much accumulation.
Can I ask you a quick question?
Yeah.
Does Connor... I know. So then that doesn't work. All right, now we got to get away from the gimmicky stuff. Let's get someone that knows Michigan. Insert Brady Hoke. Didn't work. So they spent a lot of time trying to find it. Then when they hired Jim Harbaugh, it's going to be a great hire. It is what it is. Jim Harbaugh had to come off the NFL game and refigure out the college game, the collegiate game, because one of the big things where he struggled on earlier was the player development. The player development was the thing. So I think they went through that, And then finally, they've come out on the other side. Like now you'll see these schools, these institutions that go through that, they don't have a foundation. That's what insert the NIL. We'll fix all our problems through NIL. Will you? Lincoln Riley? Will you? Like if you don't build a foundation, so I think it may have taken him time. Yeah, I was one on fire line. I was one of those guys like, 2020 might need to take a look at making a different decision, but stay the course and those who stay. And now you look like Michigan's product is going to be Michigan's product for a while. They're not sweating NIL. They're not sweating the identity. Their identity is strong. Offensive line. They got another 5-star quarterback coming in. They're going to have a ton of running backs coming in. And also they got a 4-star wide receiver. So their identity is strong.
I love what you just said. And Ryan Ermanni, I pray to God you're watching right now. I do, okay? And I know you and I have had this conversation before, okay? Michigan is a prime example of what a guy like me has been screaming for years, okay? You can't win today without top 5 recruiting classes. Right there. Right. Jim Harbaugh is doing it the right way. He's getting guys in here. Is he plucking some guys, as you mentioned? No question about it. No doubt about it. Make no mistake. But the people out there, like Ryan, much love, Ryan, that for years said, you can't win without these top recruiting classes. Bull crap. There's a foundation there. Jim Harbaugh is coaching guys up. It's the same formula that he used at Stanford when they went 11-1 and finished number 4 in the nation at Stanford, for goodness sake. Now, again, I'm not comparing the recruiting classes that he had at Stanford to what he has at Michigan. But, Bray, you know as well as I do, so many people said, well, no, you can't win. You have to go get recruiting classes like Alabama. You have to go get recruiting classes like Texas. You have to go get recruiting classes, here it comes, like Ohio State. And Jim Harbaugh's going, do I? And I love it. I think it's great for college football. It's the way it gives other people hope. If we get the right people in place and we coach guys up, we can make a run like this Michigan team's doing. I think it's beautiful.
I disagree with you. I agree 100% with Ryan Ermanni on this. And here's why, Sean. Who won the national championship last year?
A team with a top 10 recruiting class.
How many 5-stars did they have in comparison to everybody else in the country? They were number 2.
Number 2.
The year before that, who won the national championship? They were number 1.
They were number 1.
The year before that. The year before that. The year before that. Every national champion has either been 3-2-1 in recruiting or been 2-1 in 5 stars on the team. Even to what you just said, it was like, they could do it without that. J.J. McCarthy, how many stars did he have coming out? He's a 5-star.
Yeah, he was.
So
4? Oh, no, okay, he's 5. No, you're right. I'm thinking in my head.
I think that you're correct in terms of what Jim Harbaugh was able to do, but I think Jim Harbaugh and the Michigan situation is a unicorn. Like, I think it's a unicorn situation. I don't think you can build this at insert institution here that's not Alabama, Georgia, Michigan, because they've tried. Look at Texas, didn't work. Look, like you can keep going down the list. The reason why it works with Michigan is because he still preaches the foundation that Michigan has had since 1887.
Hear me out, though. I'm not saying that this is an every year occurrence.
Yeah.
I agree with you. This is an exception to the rule. But all I was told is you can't do this. They're doing it. Regardless, one of these two teams are not one of the quote-unquote recruiting powerhouse, perennial top 10 recruiting. Whoever wins that game, and I think it's going to be Michigan. I know you're going to save yours. I don't know when I'm going to be on again. I think Michigan wins the game, period, end of story.
You think?
I do. I think. But no, you like, understand what? So there's my exception to the rule. It's going to be Michigan.
You right now are the issue with the Michigan narrative. Every time something happens with Michigan, it's moving the goalpost back. They're not going to be Penn State without, and don't get me wrong, I know they're not on the same caliber level, so hear me out. Oh, they're not going to be Penn State without Jim Harbaugh. Did it. They're not going to beat Ohio State and Ryan Day without Jim Harbaugh. Did it. They're definitely not going to beat Alabama. Did it. So now it's like, 3 weeks before Alabama won against Georgia, was anybody talking about them like that?
No.
When you talked about Ohio State the whole season, it was like, it's Ohio State team is like. But every time that team played against Michigan, what was it? Well, no, Michigan's not going to beat them.
Yeah.
So now you're saying the same thing with Washington. It's like,
I think Michigan's going to win.
But you said, I think.
Okay. Do you want me to? I'm going to gaze.
No. You can.
Michigan's going to win the national championship. Is that better? Michigan's going to win the national championship.
It's destiny. don't.
If a guy like me's saying it, it's destiny.
With the green and white. With the green and white.
Okay, fairness. I was on with Shep last week too. Braylon, to your point, I said 24-20 Alabama, but, and Pete, you were here, my caveat was, in years gone by, I would have been shocked if Michigan won this game. I won't be shocked if Michigan won this game.
You said 24-20, and the only reason why you had 24-20 because you didn't trust the quarterback. And because you didn't trust the quarterback, you should have just already knew to flip it and make Michigan 24-20.
I should have.
Because am I right? Is that why it's 24-20?
Yes.
If Alabama would have had a Tua, a Jalen, insert one of those quarterbacks, you would have said 31-15.
You're absolutely right. You're 100% right.
So you got to trust yourself.
Yeah, you're 100%.
56 yards in the first half. That's all I'm saying.
And you know what was even more impressive to me this year about Michigan football?
Talk to me, Kool-Aid.
Is they drowned out all of the noise. Cheeseburger Gate didn't matter. Jim Harbaugh suspended didn't matter.
Yeah.
The signals and all that didn't matter. Ooh, now we have to play Alabama, and everybody now drumming up noise about their reaction to having to play Alabama. Didn't matter. The whole, even just before the game against Alabama, all of a sudden Nick Saban goes and hires Michigan's ex-linebacker coach. Didn't matter, right? Nick Saban made his patented adjustments in the second half of the game.
He did.
Didn't matter. No noise that's been drummed up against Michigan football this year has mattered. It's just been about the noise they've created.
Good call.
And that's been an amazing thing to see from this squad this year.
You're absolutely correct. And I'm going to say something, and this isn't because I'm diehard Go Blue, went to Michigan, Dad went to Michigan. It's not that. It's just the truth. People hate Michigan.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, no, the whole country.
Absolutely.
And this is before Connor Stallions. When I figured out that they hated Michigan, when I got in the NFL, whenever we would lose, the guys in the locker room, I was the only guy ever like, y'all lost. Like, bro, you went to Mississippi State. Why you worried about Michigan? Like, you went to Cal. Like, like everyone hates Michigan. So no one can look at what Michigan has actually done this year. No one can give those players credit. No one can give Jim Harbaugh and that coaching staff credit. No one will, because even before this year, Michigan's always been this hated, arrogant team. It's like, they're like over it. They haven't even done anything, but everybody respects that brand. Everyone hates Michigan. So they can't even see what Michigan has accomplished so far this year.
I'm going to let you go into the enemy's playbook when we come back, and I'm going to tell you why everybody hated Michigan. I'm serious.
Well, I know,
I can speak to that.
I know why, but let's talk about it.
Okay, I can speak to that when we come back.
Who's got Guardian?
You.
No, I got Guardian. Hi.
Oh, you got it?
Yeah. Did you know it's a new year? So let Guardian
right.
Alarm offer you customized solutions from real experts. Their professional technicians take the time to recommend security and automation solutions specific to your needs. 24/7 professional monitoring. Call us anytime, day or night, and know that a Guardian team member will stay on the phone as long as needed. This is technology backed by people. Your safety and security deserves technology that's been proven to work and people who have been proven to care. Call 1-800.
Stay out.
That's 1-800.
Stay out.
Call 1-800. Stay out. Guardian Alarm.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles. And with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Hey, What happens when you run a great business for over 50 years? You expand and offer more products to more people. This is exactly what Les Stanford did by adding Les Stanford Buick GMC. It's the same great service that customers have come to know and trust. On Woodward, just south of 9 Mile, check out Les Stanford in Dearborn today and find the brand you want at lesstanford.com. Braylon, I totally agree with you. I don't think the average Michigan fan, well, they probably do by now, understands like how hated Michigan is nationally. Okay? And I think a lot of people had fun at their expense. When it really became apparent to me was Appalachian State. Like, if you didn't see it on that day, you weren't paying attention.
100%.
I mean, way too many people were having fun with that, okay? And again, to use the same thing that we've said all day, people love to kick sand in your face while you're laying face first on the ground, okay? I really honestly believe that for a 30-year span, a lot of it stemmed from the fact that while programs did this and ebbed and flowed,
Michigan didn't.
Michigan was the model of consistency. If your down year in the span of 30 years is a year you go 6-6.
Okay.
84. You go 6-6. Your starting quarterback, guy by the name of Jim Harbaugh, what happened to him? Breaks his arm, okay? If that's your down year and you end up 6-6 and only losing to the eventual national champion, BYU by a touchdown, you're doing a hell of a lot better than everybody else in the nation.
Who was it, Steve Young?
That was Robbie Boscow.
Robbie Boscow, Steve Young,
remember
Ty Detmer.
You remember he was the fake limp that he had, and then he'd take off for 50 yards and everything? What a scam.
Jim McMahon, too.
Yeah, Jim McMahon was a little bit previous to that.
Okay.
But my point is, Braylon, you have been the model of consistency, Michigan football. And yes, during that time, you didn't mix in many championships, 97, notwithstanding. But I think, just one man's opinion, I've always felt this, I think that most people around the country would have loved to have the consistency that Michigan had. And I think it stems in jealousy. I really, truly do.
I think I definitely agree with that. I think another part of it, too, is the second thing you said in terms of not having many championships. We had one. So don't say many. There was one.
Yeah.
I think people are very agitated that Michigan has the cachet or the respect or the consistent talking about consistent primetime games consistently when they're like, they didn't win a national championship. Like, they win the Big Ten, maybe revert between Wisconsin, Ohio State, win it one here, maybe win two, but they're not beating USC. They can't win on the West Coast. Like, they're not, you know what I'm saying? So I think that's why people had a problem with Michigan, where it's like, why do we talk about this team so much that can't win in the Rose Bowl? They can't get to the national championship. We got Florida, we got insert Florida State, Nebraska, Tennessee in the early 90s, USC towards the end, where guys I played against, Florida, the Tebow run, which Michigan beat Tebow, by the way. But
true story.
They're like, why the hell are we talking about Michigan? And I think that's where it stems from. Like, you arrogant assholes haven't done anything. We are now.
Yeah, that's exactly it. I mean, so people wanted to get the pound of flesh.
And it's real.
No,
I agree.
1,000%. It was real, and I think everybody lined up to get their pound of flesh from Michigan.
Yeah.
Because for a long period of time, the thing that I remember about Michigan, and I always respected this, and it kind of, Michigan never got their ass kicked.
No.
Like, for the longest time, Braylon, you would just lose games. You never really got your ass kicked. Whereas,
I got my ass kicked once my sophomore year. Iowa beat the hell out of us.
Oh, did they?
38-10.
But, I mean, I remember, like, in the 90s, and there was one game where McNabb came in, and it wasn't, the score wasn't indicative of the game. Like
they destroyed
Syracuse took it to them.
Running quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Michigan's always struggled with that.
And you had no choice but to respect that. But today, you have no choice but to respect what the current Wolverines are doing, going to playing for the national championship game next week. I think it goes without saying, I know a guy who's going to be in Houston next week. I think it goes without saying.
I'll be there for sure. Like, literally, I'm out Friday night. Like, I'm out. Let me ask you this question.
Yeah.
We were talking about Paul Feinbaum earlier, a couple pundits around the national landscape. Is the national championship, when Michigan wins, words matter, is it tainted at all?
No.
For you?
Nope.
Why not?
I think what happened, and you can't change what happened.
No.
I'm a firm believer in that. You can't change what happened. Whatever the NCAA has up their sleeve, and I have no idea. They move as quickly as a glacier. They're
or slow as molasses.
Yeah, they're the ones that this is not about a cheeseburger. All that crap. I think what happened. I think you have to accept the fact that Michigan is going to be called a national champion. As well as I do. Regardless of whatever the NCAA says, there are going to be wiseacres out there that are never going to give them their due.
Yeah.
Just like there are people out there, and I hope you caught this, that talk about the half championship they have, which I think is a big crock of crap.
That's up in Nebraska.
Yeah, it was. That was a going away party for Tom Osborne. Do we have him on the line?
That was hating the coach. That was hating the coaches, Bo.
Yeah. All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to talk to our man, does such a fantastic job. I've talked to him on radio, now here as well. We are going to bring in the one and only Anthony Broome, kindly joining us. Is he still out there, by the way?
I believe so, yes.
Let's take a quick commercial break.
We're going to take a commercial break, right?
Hear from Swiss?
Yep.
We'll do that. Let's hear from Swiss and let's get back to it.
All right. All you, Kool-Aid.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, Kool-Aid, do me a favor. You have the Swiss read. Can you bring it over? Or actually, you have the Swiss read. I'll shift it over to you. Are you ready?
Yeah, let's rock, man.
All right. Why don't you go ahead and do that?
Listen, people, do you have football on the brain? It's already been an awesome college and pro football season this year. Fall is also the perfect time to shop your home and auto insurance. So is winter. Shop it like a pro with Swiss Insurance. They cover Woodward Sports Network, and they should be covering you too. Ask for Mark at Swiss Insurance today at swissins.com or call 248-800-4177.
Savor the heart of home at Big Boy with our all-new down-home comfort dishes. Feast on home-style goodness with our Southern Comfort Chicken Bowl, veal parmigiana, and apple pie hotcakes. The down-home delight doesn't stop there. Potato pancakes are back. Dive into the richness of our perfectly crafted potatoes with our classic potato pancakes and our stuffed potato pancakes. Top off your meal with our new gingerbread shake, a seamless blend of creamy vanilla and sweet gingerbread flavors. Nothing beats the comforting taste of down-home cooking. Enjoy every bite, only at Big Boy.
Join Woodward Sports' own Jeff Iafrate, along with special WSN guests for the most anticipated Lions season in decades. Filled with different surprises and expert analysis. You're not going to want to miss out. Go to our Woodward Sports YouTube channel on Sundays and tune in live from 9:30 to 11:30 a.m.
At work and at home, we're there with smarter security solutions. Featuring complete automation with customized alerts and more. For over 90 years, we've been the company that's been counted on to protect what matters most, all with personalized service and care. Right now, for a limited time, receive a free video device plus free installation with a new home system. Guardian Alarm. We protect Michigan.
Hey, make sure you head to Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It is an award-winning haircut experience. You can register to win a trip of your dreams and all expenses paid suite for the 2024 NC2A tournament. How stinking cool is that? No expense spared for you and 5 of your best buds. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week, walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome. Wicked awesome. All right, we are going to be joined. I'm so glad that we could connect with this guy. I am a fan of his work. I don't know if you guys know this about me. I love college football. I think that college, no disrespect to the NFL. I love the NFL. I'm a college football guy first, so I like to get my information from everywhere. And Anthony Broome does a fantastic job. Make sure you follow him on Twitter, on all over the social media, Wolverine.com, On3 Sports Network. And he is kindly joining us for somewhere in the Pasadena vicinity. Anthony, first of all, appreciate you taking the time. I'm glad we could connect. Thanks for joining Braylon Edwards and Sean Baligian. How are you?
I'm great. Yes, calling in from downtown LA. I still have an early flight out tomorrow morning, so one more day to kind of absorb it, soak it all in, and get back on a flight a couple days from now to Houston.
Anthony, what's going on, man? Braylon here, man. How you been?
Pretty good.
Yeah,
Pretty uneventful few days, huh?
I'm telling you, man, like from Saturday to Monday, just a complete shift in energy. Let me just ask you a question. Sean and I were sitting here talking, and we were talking about the Sierra Nevada, the mountains in the background, talking about the touchdown, talking about the sun going down, the night coming in, and just Michigan winning. What was the atmosphere like from a fan's perspective last night in Pasadena?
I mean, somehow, people always say how it's the most iconic venue in college sports, the most picturesque place to see a game, maybe in all of sports, and somehow it was undersold. I mean, it was, wow. A lot of times in this profession, you get used to being in a lot of stadiums and being in a lot of hotel rooms and making a lot of those trips, but, to step through the security line, get up to the press box, and you see that view, you see those mountains in the background. It legitimately was, like, overwhelming. Like, I was taken aback by that. And, it's not often when you, for me, I know people have been doing it a lot longer than I have, but it's not often in this profession that you can kind of attend some sort of event where there's still, like, that childlike wonder of, wow, like, I can't believe this is here. This is, like, a magical setting, magical atmosphere. And it was everything. I mean, before the game even kicked off, all those boxes were checked, and then the game being what it was, and the theater of that game, it's an experience that you just have to see it to fully soak it in and believe it. As cool as it's always been on television, it's overwhelmingly awesome in person.
Anthony, I'm going to piggyback on that. I promise you we'll talk about the actual football, okay, especially with Braylon Edwards sitting here. But the thing that blew my mind and what nobody told me is, like, you literally walk down a street that may as well be Main Street, USA, and then all of a sudden as you're walking past all these houses, at the end of the houses, normally there's the end of the block, or, you turn to get onto 8 Mile or 9 Mile or whatever. There's the Rose Bowl, and that blew my mind.
It's very similar to Lambeau Field.
Yeah.
Like, Lambeau comes out of nowhere.
Yep.
It's very similar.
Yeah. Did anybody, like, make you aware of that? That, yeah, man, you're going to be walking down the street and you're going to go, somebody gave me bad directions. Oh, there's the Rose Bowl.
I was not aware of it. Like, you're driving on the shuttle through, essentially, to me, which is California's version of downtown Wyandotte, and then at the end of the street is the most iconic venue in college sports. It was amazing. No, it was, again, the entire experience was completely undersold to me somehow.
Yeah. Anthony, talk about what you saw in the game yesterday. Obviously, Michigan's resilience played a factor in the win. In the end, they were able to get that touchdown and able to win in overtime. But just talk about what you saw out of Michigan in the fourth quarter. To me, it seems like whenever Michigan needs something, whether it's Ohio State, whether it's Penn State, and now Alabama, they have the ability to accomplish it.
Yeah, I mean, to me, it's the unflappable ability to just not. They don't flinch at anything, and even yesterday was a lot of things that happened was adversity nonetheless, but self-inflicted adversity, which is more symbolic for Michigan than not in a lot of ways. But the way that they were able to fight through those mistakes, 'cause, you make those type of mistakes against a team like Alabama, you're dead most of the time. They will bury you, and Michigan just kept playing. They were able to force Alabama mistakes. To me, it's just, again, to be able to win without your fastball like that in that venue against that program. And I'm not really going to listen to the argument, oh, well, this isn't as talented as Alabama's. No, go look at recruiting rankings. They're as talented as they probably ever have been. That was super impressive. And that was the moment they wanted Alabama. This was the type of moment that a lot of those guys came back for. And to see them be able to do it on that stage in overtime is, again, sometimes you just got to gut through it in a championship season and find a way to win, and this was one of those games where they were able to do that.
Anthony Broome kindly joining us, Wolverine.com, On3 Sports Network. Anthony, what can you say about Blake Corum that already hasn't been said? I think, when the crap hits the fan, you give the ball to your best player, and all he needed was 2 carries to get the ball into the end zone. When you think of all the great running backs at Michigan, I think A-Train comes to mind. Mike Hart obviously had a fantastic career. How do you even quantify what Blake Corum has meant to this team?
I mean, it's unquantifiable. I mean, this time last year, he was in L.A., except he was coming off knee surgery and starting his rehab and his way back to the field. And fast forward a year later, he's in the Rose Bowl. Had obviously 2 touchdowns in the Rose Bowl. Had one of the biggest touchdowns in Michigan history in that overtime. When push comes to shove, and he hasn't quite been as explosive this year as maybe in years past. But when they've in those gotta have it moments, you think back to the Ohio State game, the touchdown run he had directly after Zach Sinder's injury, the touchdown that he had leaking out of the backfield yesterday. When you really needed it. I mean, that thing was teetering early on. You needed that score to tie up the game early on in the Rose Bowl, and then the one that you had to have late. I mean, this is why he came back to Michigan, and you got to ride guys like that. And I had a feeling he came off the bus yesterday in a Barry Sanders Pro Bowl jersey, and I thought to myself, I'm like, is that going to be symbolic of something? And it was. He put the team on his back, and ultimately, everyone's got one more game left in him now, and that's he's remarkable. I mean, he's up there now with, I forget even running backs. I mean, the Charles Woodsons, the Aiden Hutchinsons, all those Michigan greats. I mean, he's firmly in that tier now.
Braylon Edwards, perhaps? Could we throw him in that conversation as well?
That was assumed. We all know that.
This is about the current team right now. You talk about Billy Corum, amazing he was able to come back, especially off of the last 5 weeks of Blake Corum haven't necessarily been up to par for what he's done over the last 3 years. So I think this was a really good game for him and being able to get that consistency again. Let's flip and talk about the defense, because so much is made about Michigan and their defensive rank against the Big Ten. Nobody cares about that. That defensive rank is false. It's the Big Ten. And then they go against Alabama and they get 6 sacks. And they're dominant and they're physical up front. Talk about that defense and what you saw up close and in person.
That was a Jesse Minter masterclass. I mean, for what my money's worth, maybe the best game he's called at Michigan. A year after TCU completely exposed those guys. They didn't bring their best in that Fiesta Bowl last year, but I mean, that was the most pressure I think we've seen Michigan get in a game against that caliber of opponent. Over the last several seasons. I mean, Jalen Milroe, all the talk coming into this game about how he was a big play waiting to happen. He's going to carve him up with his legs, and he was going to take all these shots downfield. Jalen Milroe averaged 5 yards per attempt yesterday. They had him rattled early on. They had those 5 first-half sacks. And again, when we talk about that unflappable mentality, when we talk about needing to step up and strain and make a play, this Michigan defense has delivered in every single one of those moments this year. Yesterday, Quentin Johnson, Josh Wallace, they forced that fumble in the fourth quarter. The defense gets that stop at the end of the game. Get to stop at the goal line in overtime there. It seems like everyone up front won their one-on-one on that play, and it's just they're deep, they're athletic, and all the talk was, Michigan's going to be overwhelmed by SEC speed and all this dynamic talent on the offensive side of the ball. Well, Michigan's got a lot of talent up front on defense. They've got a lot of talent at all 3 levels of their defense. And I thought that Jesse Minter, that was incredible. Maybe his best called game at Michigan. And
I agree.
Set a tone early on. They completely owned the line of scrimmage on both sides of the ball in that first half and had to kind of fight and get it back in that second half. But, man, I did not expect that. I really didn't.
Anthony, you know what? I'm glad that you brought that up because that's where I wanted to go with you next. Listen, point blank, I'm one of those guys. You've probably heard me rant it. Bigger, stronger, faster. It shows itself out. And in the second half, you had a lot of people like me sitting there going, here it comes. It's starting to go downhill. Except it didn't. Once it started to go downhill, it's almost like Michigan said, yeah, this script, we're going to rip it up and we're going to write our own script to get it back the way they did and to reassert themselves on both sides of the line, again, is a testament to the jobs on both sides of those lines. Because how many times have we seen it? You guys have seen it. They just start rolling over you. They keep coming. And Bama put in the 5 defensive linemen in that one set, and we're just rolling. Michigan said to go all course on you, not so fast, my friend, and kind of got that dominance back.
Yeah, well, I think the mentality or the physicality, the identity they've tried to build all year, really the last few years, is that over the course of a 4-quarter game, we don't care if you're Bowling Green or you're Alabama. You cannot hang with us for 4 quarters. And I think the Georgia game a couple years ago was kind of one of those sobering reminders of how much work there still was to do. Last year, to their credit, they did fight for 4 quarters, damn near won that game. This year has been different. They've had a little more of that killer instinct to them. And again, for all this talk about the speed, the athleticism, the advantage on the recruiting trail, Michigan actually came into this game with, I think, 14 guys on Pro Football Focus's top 200 for next year's NFL draft. Alabama had 13. So when, again, Bama's going to have that top end talent, but Michigan's got a lot of it in a lot of areas that count too. And so there was this perceived gap. There really isn't that gap. I thought Michigan's defense, especially, to me, looked as fast, as physical as an SEC defense would. Ben Herbert has done an amazing job with those guys in the weight room. Just get a little bit better in a lot of areas. And all this stuff, you can't hang with the SEC for 4 quarters. I think what we've seen this football season now through 14 games is there's not a team in the country that's shown it can hang with Michigan for 4 quarters, with Alabama and Ohio State obviously being the closest ones, and it's still a bit of a coin flip at the end of both of those games, but they just keep finding ways to get it done, and that's what champions do.
Anthony, I definitely agree with you about Ben Herbert. He's been a godsend to Michigan in the last 3 years. You see the difference in speed, physicality, and those players, and even the dynamicness. So I definitely agree with you there. Look, we're up against it, Anthony, but I'm going to ask you a quick question. Give me a quick thought on Michigan facing Washington. Is this a matchup that Michigan wants, or is it in favor of Washington?
I'd give slight advantage to Michigan, especially seeing as Washington lost its star running back at the end of last night's game. Listen, this is the first game all year, though, where I think you can honestly sit back and say that the other team has the better quarterback, and we know how explosive they can be through the air. So I think it's going to be a lot of fun. I think it's awesome that it's 2 future Big Ten schools that ESPN is now forced to air and speak highly of for several hours over the course of these next 7 days. I think that's pretty awesome, too. So, again, that's not me puffing my chest out like the folks that do that for the SEC, but it's going to be the 2 best teams in college football, both undefeated, 1 seed versus 2 seed. What more could you possibly ask for?
Agreed.
Great stuff, Anthony. Always a pleasure to chat with you. Safe trip home, my friend.
Of course. Thank you, guys.
Enjoy safe travels.
Anthony Broome kindly joining us. Braylon, I'm going to tell you point blank, I was a big baby on Sunday, and I didn't watch any NFL.
What?
I was in no mood to watch the NFL on Sunday.
I thought you know what? Let's touch on that when we get back, because I actually felt similar to what you did. And
now I don't feel like a big Google baby.
You know what? Let me get a message from Feldman. I think we need to dive into that, though. But first, Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer. With 18 locations, there's a Feldman dealership near you, probably in your own backyard. All you need to do is go to feldmanauto.com. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience. It's called the Feldman Advantage. You know what you should do? Take advantage.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Where's the most convenient place to get that big fitness energy? It's Planet Fitness. Join today for just $1 down, $10 a month. With over 2,400 locations and equipment for every workout, you can get in, get energized, and get going. And with free fitness training and most clubs open 24 hours, everyone belongs in the judgment-free zone. So join today for $1 down, $10 a month, no commitment, cancel anytime. Deal ends Wednesday, September 13th.
Join now at any Metro Detroit location. Hurry, offer ends soon.
Any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists, and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Boner and Broder.
Hey, for over 60 years, Fairway Packing Company has provided Michigan's finest restaurants, hotels, and casinos with prime beef, Wagyu beef, and dry aged beef. Anybody that knows me, I'm all about my smoker and getting things done in my own backyard. That's why you, yes you, need to experience the Fairway difference for yourself today. You can visit the steak shop in Grosse Pointe Woods for grab-and-go steaks, or how easy is this? Just order online at fairwaypacking.com. That's fairwaypacking.com.
We have Ryan.
Well, you know what I'm going to do? I think I'm going to take these headphones off, and I'm just going to go hide in the other corner of the room. And you two can do what you two are going to do, okay? No, seriously, all jokes aside, everybody's got to shut their mouth today except for one team in the nation. Michigan did what everybody else wanted to do, and they knocked off an SEC team in the process, and the SEC aura took a big hit. And I had a feeling that even though he's down in Florida, resting comfortably, I had a feeling he might chime in. Ryan Ermanni, how are you, pal?
Hey, guys, how are you?
What's up, big guy?
Oh, man, I'm
Look
feeling
at that
good.
smile!
Look at the energy right now. He looks amazing.
Oh, man, I just woke up from about an hour nap. I didn't get much sleep last night, fellas. I was riding that high from that Michigan win. I'll tell you, and it goes back to when we were in Indianapolis in that room when it was announced that Michigan was going to play Alabama and not Florida State. That's the way I wanted it. That's the way they wanted it. That's the way we wanted it. And there was no better way to play in the college football playoff in the Rose Bowl than to beat the big, bad SEC and Alabama, Nick Saban. I mean, every storyline that you could ever imagine was wiped away last night. And I got to tell you, as I sit here this morning, it almost feels like next week is kind of like the Big Ten championship game in a way. After riding high, after an Ohio State win, to have to play the following week in a Big Ten championship game, it whatever happens next week, I feel like is gravy at this point, guys. I just that night last night was so special. I can't even put it into words.
Yeah, 100%. It's kind of like what last year with the Kansas City Chiefs. Like, was it 2 years ago when the Kansas City Chiefs beat Buffalo? It was like, oh, I'm good. I don't even care about the Super Bowl. It was so much energy in that. Like, Ryan, we've talked about it all year long, all offseason. We talked about what Michigan was going to do. How important was it for Michigan watching no Jim Harbaugh first 3 games? No Jim Harbaugh, Penn State through Ohio State, and then you get Jim Harbaugh. Then everything that these guys have been through this season in terms of the players, in that moment at the end of the game in overtime, they found a way to win again. Like, just talk about the resiliency of this team.
They overcome unlike anything I've ever seen from any local team. Lions, Red Wings, Tigers, Pistons, Michigan State, basketball, football, whatever. I've never seen a team have to overcome as much as they've overcome in a season. And one of the things that doesn't get talked about enough are these players, the actual guys that line up 11 on 11, offense, defense, special teams. I know special teams didn't have that great of a night last night, but these players are so special. What a group. You know, when everything seems to change in college football, where everything's about who's paying who what, NIL, a transfer portal, it feels like, and maybe it's just because they're my team, and they're our team, Bray, but it just feels like for as much as college football changes, Michigan is still about team. The team. And I know that's a little bit of a cliche, and I know that's what goes painted on the walls of the the tunnel there at Michigan Stadium. But this really does feel like a brotherhood and a team, all for one for all. And I'm not sure it's like that at every other place anymore.
I agree. Definitely the 122 Musketeers, because that's exactly how they operate. One for all. I'm still excited. Like, I'm really like looking at you. I see like you're excited. I'm excited. But with Michigan.
Well, listen, Bray, listen. Dude, we've been talking about this for about
forever.
A year now.
We knew it was going to happen.
So, like when you talk.
Yeah.
Forgive the language. When you talk a bunch of shit for a year.
Talk that shit, Ryan.
And maybe a little bit more than that. Man, it feels like such a relief that, almost that you're vindicated in your belief system. Because I really do believe that this team, this was the year that Michigan wins the national championship. I really believe that.
Yeah.
All things, first and foremost. And then I believe they could play with anybody. And last night to see that Michigan was faster than Alabama.
It's very true.
When Michigan was stronger than Alabama, are you kidding me? They could do that. Offensive and defensive line pushed Alabama all over the field. That was the indicator to me that was going to be Michigan's night yesterday. And I will tell you this, one other thing that I always continue to talk about. Sorry, Bray.
No, go ahead. You go ahead.
Last night was one of the sloppiest games I've ever seen in my life. One of the sloppiest Michigan games I have ever seen in my life. And there will always be a winner, and there will always be a loser. And thankfully, we don't have to worry about this anymore with a 12-team playoff. You just will never convince me that a team is able to play their best football game 4 or 5 weeks after they played last. And I think you saw the rust from both Michigan and Alabama yesterday. And in the end, Michigan made the plays when they counted, especially in overtime and down the stretch in the fourth.
Ryan, quick question. I'm going to turn it over to Sean after that, though. There's a guy that you've been talking about for the better part of 3 years now, and that guy was on full display in the fourth quarter and overtime. He's number 9 for University of Michigan Wolverines, J.J. McCarthy. Talk about how major he was at the end of the game. I'll let you take it from there. That's your guy.
He's a difference maker, and Jim Harbaugh said it after the game, and I've been saying it for the better part of a year.
2 years.
2 years. This kid is the most talented quarterback ever to play at the University of Michigan. And even that throw last night, the Roman Wilson catch, that pass was tipped. And the only reason that it got to Roman Wilson was because first of all, great catch by Roman Wilson, but that throw had so much gusto on it that it almost didn't even stop spinning. And I just think that kid can do it. He's all everything. I think he's going to be a great pro. I think he would be benefited if he came back this year and played one more year at Michigan. I really do. God bless him if he wants to leave and probably go be a top 10 pick, top 15 pick next year. But if he came back, I think he'd be the number 1 overall selection next year, and he could rewrite the record books at Michigan. I'm not sure if that's important to him or not, but there's no question about it. He's the best quarterback that Michigan has ever seen in the history, the 144-year history of the program, period.
Ryan, I love what you said earlier because I tweeted out what you said. And listen, you and I have probably had conversations about this over the years. I have been called SEC lover. I have been called this, that, and the other thing, okay? The reality is the SEC has kicked fill-in-the-blank's ass a certain way many times over. That aura took a big hit last night because it looked like it was starting to go that way again in the third quarter, into the fourth quarter, and then Michigan went like this and said, we're not going out like that, and reasserted its dominance. Everybody saw it. That cannot be denied. Bigger, stronger, faster goes to the victorious team last night.
Remember when, Sean, this was one of the things we always used to talk about, too, for decades. A team would come into Michigan Stadium and they would see the helmets and they lost the game. They'd lose the game even before they played just by looking at the jerseys and the helmets and walking into the stadium. that's kind of what it's been like over the last 20 years when you play an SEC team. And you're outside that conference. You're lining up against an SEC team. You know you've already lost. You know you've lost that game because they were going to beat you up to death, and they're faster. Their players can run faster. They're just better athletes. And I think last night that all went away. It was almost like in Rocky IV when Rocky punches the Russian Ivan Drago. And
he's not a machine. He's a man.
He's cut. You know, yeah, Bray. He's not a machine.
He's a man.
And,
you gotta
and
hit
that's
him.
what it felt like last night. That's exactly what it felt like last night. It felt like Michigan punched Alabama in the face and drew blood. And you saw that they were just another team in college football. They were not some machine. And Michigan did that last night for everybody.
That was a hell of a metaphor because that's my favorite movie of all time. You know that. I used to watch that before every Michigan game and every Cleveland Browns game. Then I realized I couldn't use it in Cleveland. But
they hit the one in the middle. That's what they did.
Hit the one in the middle.
Listen, Paulie was right.
Rest
hit
in
the
peace
one
to Burt
in the middle.
Young. Rest in peace to Burt Young. Ryan, just putting a bow on this, just the Michigan this season. Is it fair to say this is going to be the best 30 for 30 ever? This is the most I'm just saying, I feel like the situation and how it's played out, people aren't going to give Michigan the credit because they hate us. I feel like 5-10 years from now, they're going to look back and be like, yo, they really did that? They didn't have him.
Yeah.
They won that. They beat Bama at the Rose Bowl. I thought they couldn't win on the West Coast. And then they're going to win a national championship.
And Bray, I'll tell you that, you know, the story is still not written on this team. I mean, you know, they do have one more to play. And again, no disrespect to the NRG Stadium or whatever it's called in Houston, but how do you not have your championship game at like the Rose Bowl or something?
Yeah.
Like that's
just real.
I mean, it's almost criminal that you have to play in Houston and after coming off that iconic scene in Pasadena. But yeah, I don't think the story's written yet. One more game to go against a team that hasn't lost. It does feel like to me everything's gravy at this point, and we'll see what happens. I think Michigan wins that game. I think they're the best team in the country. I hope they win. And then we'll see what happens. You know, does JJ come back? Does Jim Harbaugh come back? There's a lot of storylines yet to be told. And one last thing about the players of Blake Corum, man. That dude is that dude deserves a statue at Michigan. I mean, he's just real special. He's a real special talent. And for as much as we talk about JJ and as much as we talk about guys, Blake Corum is as Michigan as it gets. I love that guy.
First person you think of when you say Michigan has to be Blake Corum.
Yeah, pretty hard to deny that. Ryan, one more thing before we let you go, and safe travels back to you, but can I read something to you? This is on a personal level. Are you ready?
Yep.
12 5 stars versus 2 5 stars. 58 4 stars versus 44 4 stars. 10 3 stars versus 46 3 stars. When you coach guys up and you play a system, you can get it done. And Jim Harbaugh is proving that right now.
Amen to that. I love that, Sean. I used to freak out over all that stuff, right? and now it's just like, let's line up and play. We'll go with our guys.
Best team in the nation.
We'll see what happens.
They've looked that way most of the year.
Baby.
They've looked that way most of the year, and I don't care. Again, I don't care who you root for.
Yeah.
You're an idiot if you can't acknowledge what they've done up to this point. Hey, safe travels, my friend. It's always a pleasure to see you.
We'll
Love
see
you, brother.
Thursday,
Enjoy
guys.
that sun.
We'll see you Thursday. Love you guys.
See you Thursday.
All right. Now, can I tell you, I was so maybe I wasn't as big of a goo-goo baby on Sunday as I had no interest in watching the NFL on Sunday. Like, it felt gross to me. Like, I'm not being funny. It felt gross to me.
Is that also because the Lions played Saturday?
Yes. That was 100% why. And the way it ended, I didn't have any interest in watching. You want to take a break and get into that a little bit? I do.
I wish
there were some bowl games on too. I was so mad, but we'll get into that, and I'll tell you why it was goo-goo baby, even though you all know why it was.
Let's get a message from Hamlin Pub.
Thank you, gentlemen. Have you ever wanted a bar where you're a regular? We have just the place for you. Head to one of Hamlin Pub's 7 locations and experience where everyone's a regular. Whether you're enjoying half-off pizza on a Thursday or game day specials available during all Michigan sports and NFL games, probably Michigan State too as well, Sean. Hamlin Pub is the place. Visit a location today and experience your new favorite pub, just like Sean likes, for all things sports.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot-off-the-press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel.
Any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists, and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Rip to the same old Detroit Lions. Big thanks to Sheila, Brad, and Dan for putting them to rest. Kings in the North, by the way. And guess what else has found the grave? Same old rock, paper, scissors. Jack Labrador has revolutionized the tire game with 2 new symbols. Jack Labrador. Franchise-changing 3-point play. Discover the action at jacklabrador.org. Now find out why. Once you go Jack, you never go back.
I think I can speak for a lot of people out there, Braylon, and I'm interested to hear if you felt the same way. One of my biggest issues with the National Football League, okay, and it's the king. I don't care what your favorite sport is, okay? Really, it doesn't matter to me. Yeah. I love hockey. NFL's king. I love college football. One of the coolest things ever is to be a Heisman Trophy voter. NFL's king. I don't care who you are. You have to acknowledge the NFL is king. Maybe this is part of why the NFL is king. Because the NFL loves to go, Star Wars fan? They love to go Obi-Wan Kenobi on you. They really do. These are not the droids you are looking for.
Jedi mind trick.
You did not see what you saw. The NFL loves to do that.
He was offsides. No, he wasn't.
They love to tell you that. And then they come out with these unbelievable pool reports, which I'm not joking. I threw my phone across the room to the point where I was like, you dummy, you just got a new phone, and if you broke your phone, I'm going to bill the NFL. But when I woke up Sunday morning...
You're not getting that money back.
No way. When I woke up Sunday morning, I'm not joking. And if you guys in the chat want to call me a big baby, you go right ahead, okay? I had zero interest in turning on the NFL all day. I didn't turn it on. Braylon, I didn't do it. Yeah. I even tweeted out, I miss the old bowl days, where I don't care if it was the Peach Bowl on. I don't care if it was the Blue Bonnet Bowl. I would have watched a college game. Thankfully for a guy like me, there was hockey on throughout the day that kept me busy. Like, Braylon, I was so disgusted by what happened on Saturday night. And the NFL doesn't give 2 shits. I couldn't turn it on Sunday. And that never, ever happens for me. But I was really that disgusted by what I saw and the NFL's Jedi mind tricks that I just said, I'm going to find something else to watch today. I mean, was I overreacting, or do I have a right to feel that way?
You know what? I didn't grow up a Detroit Lions fan. My dad played for the Lions. Still didn't grow up a Lions fan. Loved players, but never was a Lions fan. But since doing the show starting in 2021, slowly but surely, I become a Lions fan. Saturday night was the first time like a Lions loss hurt. Like Saturday night was the first time, like when they lost in 2014 in Dallas, same similar situation, I didn't care. I was really just retiring. I was like, same old stuff with the Lions. But this one was different. And it's different because, and I understand, refs aren't cheating or da-da-da-da, that's the narrative. They don't want you to go that route. I just don't understand, like, how that happened. I'm going to start off with the refs, then I'll get to Dan Campbell. I legitimately, the man reported. And then I heard people say, well, they sent 3 people. The man reported. The man reported, and you saw him. Then the referee, like, sprints away from him. Also very, very weird, very awkward. But I just thought it was a situation where it felt weird. Can I say that without trying to say the referee sabotage? Can I just say it felt weird, Sean?
Yes, absolutely.
And the energy felt weird. I feel like the Lions got screwed. Like the Lions got screwed. They should have won that game. It was very weird. It's very similar to that Monday Night Football game last year in New York with the Commanders. Remember when Terry McLaurin was like on the ball, and he's like, I'm good. And then the ref blows the flag. It was very weird energy in that play. I think the Lions did an amazing job in terms of coming back at the end, giving themselves a chance. You saw how good they were. I mean, this is a team that's 15-0 at home, last 15 games. This is a team that averages 14 more points at home than they do on the road. Dak Prescott looks like the best quarterback of all time at AT&T. So for them to play the way they did, I think it was a really good game for the Detroit Lions. Dan Campbell, I'm cool with going for it the first time. I was cool. It was a statement game. Like, it really didn't matter. I think they were going to stay in the same spaces as his thought. If you win, that momentum kind of going into the rest of the season and the playoffs is really good. Second time, kick the field goal. Third time, kick the field goal. That's all I got to say about that.
All right, can I also go back to earlier in the game? The other one?
The other one?
Braylon,
game's over.
If I'm old school, so be it. Because I like Dan Campbell, live by the sword, die by the sword type of thing. However, I think sometimes circumstances call for different situations. I would have kicked the field goal earlier in the game. I would have. I would have said, we're on the road. Our defense is playing fairly well early on. Their defense is playing fairly well early on. Points might be hard to come by. I would have kicked the field goal earlier in the game. Listen, I get it. I'll be the first guy to say it. That's armchair quarterback stuff. You brought up something, okay? And this is where I try to appeal to people all the time for common sense, okay? Forget that you're a Lion fan today. Maybe you're watching right now and you're a Packer fan. And you're laughing at the Lions and what happened the other day. Maybe you're a Bear fan. First of all, screw off. Maybe you're a Bear fan. Maybe you're a Viking fan. Maybe you're a Chief fan. Whatever fan. You are not a Lion fan, okay? Let me ask you a question. What if that was your team? That's a bad look for the NFL. There's nobody in the National Football League that can sit back. And of course, the NFL being the NFL, they're not going to own anything. They're going to tell you didn't see what you saw. They're going to somehow blame the Lions. And yes, that narrative's out there. It is really out there. It's mind-blowing, but it's out there. And this is where I say, when something like this happens, I don't think your fandom should come into this conversation. I think this is, holy crap, this is just a bad look for the league. And Braylon, you did a great job explaining it. That's a bad look for the league.
Yeah.
Like the Lions were so trickery, right? That not only did they fool the Cowboys, they fooled their own referee.
Too. Yeah.
It's a bad look. I don't care who you root for. I hope it doesn't happen to your team, okay? I really, because that's a bad look. Nobody wants to lose that way. And unfortunately, that's what we saw. Bad look. And I don't know what would have happened. I don't know. I can't stand the second-guessing game. Is it possible that Dak could have got the ball back and driven them into field goal position? Absolutely. Do you know what I have to do, though? I have to talk about that which I know happened. And you know what I know happened? The Lions got screwed out of a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, and it's the second time this has happened with the Detroit Lions in Dallas.
Yep.
Like, it's the second time it's happened in Dallas, and now you get to the point where you're like, I disagree with you in 2014, but now it's like, come on, man, like this is purpose. Like this is intentional. Like it's like, who cares about the Detroit Lions? Well, America does, because if you go on to X, if you go on social media, if you go on any of the sites, you will see 1 million video clips of them reporting. But you didn't see that on TV.
Yeah.
But they didn't show you that on TV.
Yep.
They didn't show you that on ESPN. They didn't show you that on ABC. So it's you gotta be accountable. Like when you have referees whose job is to be the kind of like the go-between, like Mike Pereira or Dean Blandino, when they're coming on, they're like, it lets you know that they blew that call in a major way. Not just blew a major call, but the Lions could have had number 1 seed. Potentially.
The ramifications are huge.
The Dallas Cowboys can now still win the NFC East, which means now, guess where you might have to go? This is a play call, a blown opportunity that has major ramifications.
Huge. And I have no regrets being big goo-goo baby and not watching a second, and I mean that. I didn't watch a second of the NFL on Sunday. I was that disgusted by the product. Really.
Yeah.
I'll be back, though. They know. We're sorry, honey, and we'll be back. All of a sudden, I'm the battered spouse. You promise you won't hit me again? We love you, Sean. Come back. And I'm going to come back. That's what always happens.
Yeah.
I'm always back like the big dummy that I am.
I'm not touching that comment.
I'm
not touching that comment. But you're absolutely right. Like the NFL, because they're going to get you another game. There's going to be another narrative. There's going to be another story. The playoffs is going to be amazing. You know what narrative they're setting up? They're setting up that narrative with Matt Stafford and the Rams.
Love you, baby.
Coming to Ford Field.
You know you're number 1, Shawnee Poo.
You talking about the NFL?
Yeah.
Come on.
All right, go on. Be done.
Oh, yeah, man. Look, we got that Planet Fitness, man. Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where anyone, and we mean anyone, can feel comfortable and work on their fitness goals. At Planet Fitness, you'll experience a squeaky clean gym that has tons of equipment, a full-body workout in just 30 minutes, and all memberships include fitness training. You get all of this for just $10 a month, no commitment. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. There are more than 50 in Metro Detroit and thousands more throughout the
Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Spooner and Broder.
Your home is your most important asset. Flexibility in the sales process is key. When you work with Mark White and Associates, you can cancel at any time, for any reason, without penalty. Speaking of flexibility, check this out. Who you work with matters. Hire the best broker in the game.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Any Lady Jane's haircuts for men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists, and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's haircuts for men open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Premier Pet. Give your pet the best. Premier Pet Supplies, hands down, Michigan's best pet store. Same prices and all the conveniences of the online and big box retailers. With one major difference, family and locally owned and operated for 30 plus years. Over 60 brands of food with nutrition experts to help you. Same day, local, curbside, and home delivery. Premier Pet Supply. Give your pet the best. You can find them at www.premierpetsupply.com.
The players did exactly what they were supposed to do.
Every one of them, right from Jared Goff going over and telling Decker, go report. He went right over there and reported with that nod of the official. I think the official assumed 70 was because he was reporting all day. That's a plan, by the way. But where Dan Campbell failed is that he assumed that the official would have got it right. Why? Because he went over it specifically before the game. That's what you do. The officials come in, you go over every trick play scenario and all that stuff with the officials before the game.
So he actually tells the official, we have a play where we're throwing it to Decker and number 68, and he's going to report.
Yes, and there's a grease board, and you literally will draw the play up exactly how it is. I guarantee you he drew up the fake punt as well, okay, that the officials got right. And you know what? This is a huge mistake. But the thing that bothers me the most is that we're putting blame on the players. Stop. The players did everything right. So quit blaming, quit covering somebody's butt. And tell it the way it is. Be a man and take responsibility. It's BS. And this thing right here, it's just a game. Yeah, it's a game that may very well cost them the second seed, certainly, and possibly the first seed. And that is a huge difference having to play on the road instead of playing at home. And to me, and look, I love John Perry. To me, is one of the best officials of all time. Okay, we're lucky to have here. The guy's great. And in his eyes, he sees it a different way than I see it, and so be it. I'm telling you right now, as a football coach, I know exactly what the hell happened.
Let me ask you this. Why would...
And that's why I love Rex Ryan.
Oh, dude.
And that's why I love playing for Rex Ryan. Where's the lie?
None. I'm going to tell you the difference. I always, from afar, couldn't stand Rex Ryan. Now I'm on your side. After I saw that, because I didn't see it live. Right. Okay, I did not. I'm not joking when I say this. I was like, I'm not watching the NFL today, man. I'm gonna watch a World Junior Hockey Championship in the morning, and then there are hockey games all day. I was just disgusted by it because once I saw the pool report, I'd been around long enough to see how this was going to be spun. Yeah. I knew exactly what was happening. So my buddies sent me that clip, and I was like, okay, well, I guess Rex Ryan's on my good list now because he nailed that, Braylon.
He was preaching.
Nailed that.
Well, he should have already been on your best side because he coached the Jets who are green and white. So I thought you would have supported that color scheme. Hey, look, that was.
I walked into
I'm
that.
just messing with you.
I walked into that.
He's absolutely correct. Yeah. Like, there's always going to be a spin job when you know it was a terrible call. And the thing that sucks about it is everything that Rex said. When you do a trick play, when you have something up your sleeve like that, you practice it all week. You go over the details. It's like the movie Dirty Dozens. Remember the mission at the end? They went over that mission a million times. It's the same thing. Like Taylor Decker, you saw him going over there. He knew what to do. And Goff pointed him in that direction. You can't tell me he didn't go over there and check in with the referees, check in with the officials. You can't tell me that Dan Campbell didn't talk to the referees before the game and say, hey, we might have a play. Let me show you real quick. Boom, boom, boom. You can't tell me he didn't do that. They did everything right, from coaches to players, and you stole that game from them in that moment. And yeah, obviously they talk about the play, the tripping before that, but we're not talking about that. If that was a trip, sure. Was it a trip? Yes. We're not talking about that play. We're talking about a specific play in which they sabotaged from the beginning. It's one thing to miss a call. It's another thing when we started off, we came to you, we reported a minute and a half before the play started.
Yeah.
Like, we talked to you before the game started. Yeah. And maybe even out of the half, we talked to you. You knew it was coming. And then you do that. So that, and Rex was right. He said, and it's playoff implications and blah, blah, blah. He forgot that now the Lions may have to go to Dallas again.
Yep.
That's the one thing he forgot in that clip. Lions got to go to Dallas again.
Yep.
Potentially. So they botched that. And then and Rex, who I love, you saw him try to cover himself at the end. He was like, Joe Brady's one of the best ever. You don't have to say that part. In this particular instance, it was a horrible, horrible play call.
Absolutely horrible. Dan Campbell, to his credit, is looking to turn the page. I like this quote. Somebody should make a T-shirt. Woodward shop, maybe.
WSA merch.
Controlled Fury.
I'm good. I woke up yesterday. I'm ready, man. I've got Controlled Fury, and I'm ready to go. I'm absolutely ready to go. I don't go the other way. So, and the team won't either. We're on a mission, and we're not going to feel sorry for ourselves and wallow in everything. We had plays to make, we didn't make them. And it's a tight game, a good opponent, playoff-type atmosphere, and you got to make that one extra play that we didn't. And so we will use this as fuel. I got pure octane right now. I woke up, I'm ready. So we're moving forward.
Braylon, I got to ask you to put on your player's cap again for a second, if you will, okay?
Let's do it.
Yeah, now he's
I'm
a
ready.
player again.
I'm locked in the player mode.
How difficult is it to turn the page? Do we in the media and fans, is it more difficult for us, or do you go, I got a job to do, I got to get focused on the Pittsburgh Steelers, or I got to get focused on the New England Patriots? How difficult is it for you guys for that room to turn the page?
I think it's situational, but I think in this situation, it's not going to be hard for him to turn the page because of his energy. You see him at the podium talking about, I'm ready. Nah, we go forward. I'm off octane. He's ready. He's ready to move forward. When the Lions see that, you know what it is? It's kind of funny, like the similarities between Michigan and the Lions right now. Because in a moment like that, you know what's going to bring them together, Sean? Now they know everybody is against them. Now they know that, yeah, you guys are darlings when you're playing the Bucks. You guys are darlings when you're playing the Panthers. Yeah, you guys, nobody cares about Green Bay or the Bears. Justin Fields probably want to be there. But when you were playing a team that they call America's team, that all they do is freaking talk about the Cowboys on every media outlet, and you got screwed, it's going to bring you together because you're going to say, we can't make it close. We can't make it close. So now when they're going into Minnesota Vikings coming up next week, when they're going to insert Rams or whoever, they know we got to beat people handily. We got to take it out of the referee's hands. So in a situation like this is going to sound crazy. I actually think it's going to help the Lions. Like, I actually think it's going to help the Lions because of their energy. When you got your coach coming to the podium and your coach isn't out here making excuses and your coach isn't like, I can't believe they blew that call, blah, blah, blah. Coach came to the podium and said, we missed some plays. He said, but we're moving forward. We're not worried about that. It happens. First thing he said is, we missed some plays. He didn't even talk about that play. I think his players are going to see that and be like, we got to step up. We got to make sure that we know our assignments. We got to make sure that we're on point this week, next week, the following week, and eventually an NFC Championship. So I think a moment like this can actually benefit the Detroit Lions.
There is long-term ramifications, as we mentioned about. I want to throw it to Kool-Aid when we come back to talk about just that. But first, let's throw it to Pete Spivak. He's got some news that you might want to hear. Pete.
Thank you, gentlemen. Yeah, if you're dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch, Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesells.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 and make your home buying dreams come true.
Now, coming to Woodward Sports, Woodward and Main Street, the Woodward Sports Network Detroit Lions Show. Let's go! Catch Gabrielle D. Phillips, Matt Broder, and Terry Foster for all the latest news on your Detroit Lions every week. Only on the Woodward Sports Network YouTube channel and woodwardsports.com.
Come to any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men for an award-winning haircut experience from one of our talented stylists and register for a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity to win an all-expenses-paid suite for the 2024 NCAA tournament for you and 5 of your best buds. That's right, college basketball's most elite event. You and your 5 best friends just get to any Lady Jane's today for an award-winning haircut experience and automatically register to win the trip of your dreams. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's, it's wicked awesome.
Woodward Sports' own Tom Mazaway and Sam Stick Day will be hosting our Lions postgame show after every Lions game all season long. Tune into the Woodward Sports YouTube channel for his hot off the press takes, game analysis, and Kool-Aid sipping celebrations. You won't want to miss it. Join Maz, Stick, and special guests each week immediately following every Lions game, exclusively on the WSN YouTube channel. Brace yourselves, Detroit. As the sun begins to set, 2 of Woodward Sports' brightest young stars will be taking the mic for a brand new show. Woodward Nights with Boner and Broder. The dog days in Detroit are over, and the boys are unleashed. Join in on the banter and hop on the bandwagon of the #1 night show on the internet. Tune in to the Woodward Sports YouTube channel every weeknight from 8 to 10 p.m. Woodward Nights with Booner and Broder.
Join Woodward Sports and Long Drink for Lions VIP Tailgate. Get your tickets today at bullseyeeventgroup.com. Look, it's a fun party. I'm actually doing a pregame next week. Shed 5, Eastern Market. It's going to be a great time. Starts at 9:30, ends at 1 when the game starts, man. You come down, you got drinks, you got food. It's a great experience. Woodward Sports Network, we will be in the building. You never knew who you might run into down there. So come get this energy, man. Just remember, your team won the North for the first time ever. Come down and show them some love. See you at Lions VIP Tailgate.
You go on the road, man, that's a playoff type atmosphere. And, and that's what's good. It's a playoff atmosphere, a really good team, playing at a high level. And so now you got a little taste of what that's like. And it's right there, we're right there. So we got a lot to build off of. They'll come in tomorrow. We'll clean this tape up, make the corrections, which will be great for us. And we'll be good, man. We'll move on. We got Minnesota. We got one more before we start the tournament.
Yeah, I'll co-sign for what Braylon had to say. Shed 5, that whole area, that's the place to be. And, man, you got some professional smokers down there. I'm a guy. I got a couple smokers. You know what I mean.
Talking about that cannabis.
I'm talking, I got a couple at home in my backyard, and I've seen some incredible stuff out there, man. I really have. So I'm going to try to hit down there myself on Sunday. Hey, Kool-Aid, I want to get to you. Always appreciate what you do. You brought up such a great point about what this might mean to the Lions and, quite frankly, the area as well, Braylon. I heard you talking about it during the break, man. Pontificate. Tell the people. I mean, it's really, the ramifications are huge.
Yeah, to the outside world, it's just another playoff game. But to Detroit and what this organization has been through, Braylon just talked about it, man. We won the North for the first time ever. We get to host our first playoff game at Ford Field ever. It's not just having the #2 seed, but you're taking another home game away from the city of Detroit, an organization and a franchise that really could have benefited from this in a lot of different ways to try to start to change the tide and the narrative and the stigma about this organization. And furthermore, the businesses, man, in the city of Detroit, how much money is going to be lost from what they could have made? How much is goodwill within the city, man? It's just... This thing has ripple effects that are going to go from what the players are losing to what the city is losing to what the fans are losing, man. And it just doesn't sit right with me, man.
Easily 3 to 5 million. They probably lost. Excuse me. Easily 3 to 5 million. They probably lost downtown Detroit and the surrounding areas by not having that game. And you just look at the situation. It changes so many things. But at the they stole one from the Detroit Lions.
Absolutely.
They absolutely stole one from the Detroit Lions. And it's one of those things where the Lions have showed up for the NFL in the last 12, 16, 14 months. The Lions showed up for the Lions. On the road, dubs, wins, primetime wins. Lions have looked the part. They have been the team you trusted to get 5 primetime games. In those 5 primetime games, I think they won 4 out of 5.
Yeah.
That's what the Detroit Lions have done this year, and to take that game from them, especially when it's Dallas yet again, especially when it's the Lions yet again. How many times are we going to talk about the Calvin catch in Chicago? Now we got to talk about Pettigrew in Dallas. Oh, now there's another Dallas play to talk about. So to be honest, it's BS what the NFL did. It's almost like Michigan and Detroit are riding the same way because they tried to cheat the team up. They tried to cheat the team in Ann Arbor, but they kept going. And I think that's the energy that you're seeing from Dan Campbell is he's like, I ain't about to let it derail. We won the North. He's not focusing on that small play because they won the North and they still control what they want to do.
I posted the picture before the game. The Des Bryant thing to me is that of everything.
Yeah.
Okay, forget picking up the flag. Dude takes off his hat. Okay, that's
true.
not. That's not up for discretion. That's an
15.
automatic penalty.
That's 15.
That's exactly it. I just mind-boggling. Whatever. I'll watch the NFL again this Sunday though. I will. I'll be back. All right, we got to get out of here. Hey, thanks most importantly for you guys for checking us out. Braylon, thanks for inviting me
Kool-aid.
in. Pete,
My God.
my man Kool-aid over there. All you guys, thank you.
Pistons won.
Yeah, Pistons won.
Hey, they got one.
Pistons with the dub, baby. That's how we're going to end this thing.
Absolutely. Until tomorrow, we'll see you on Woodward Sports.